Hey there, my name is Brady Coogan, and welcome to my Artifact 2 presentation on Cedar Creek National Park. Upon brainstorming ideas for my second artifact, I was very excited that I would be able to combine a specific interest of mine with the national park of choice. From here, I thought it would be an excellent idea to combine the study of a national park with my hobby of American history. In my opinion, a fantastic national park is one that can tell and preserve a story. This way, future visitors can learn from the park and gain proper insight on what the conditions were like during the creation of the significance of the park. For my artifact, I will be covering the Cedar Creek National Park and the relevant Battle of Cedar Creek. I plan to explore all aspects of the battle, including what caused the battle to occur and the result of the battle. Furthermore, I plan to explain not only how the Union and Confederacy interacted with Cedar Creek, but how the land of Cedar Creek influenced the battle itself. Prior to the Battle of Cedar Creek, the Confederate Army was weakening and was looking to gain territory in the Virginia, D.C. area. Confederate Robert E. Lee had known well that their territories in Richmond and Petersburg were slowly turning away, so he made it a mission to reclaim the land in the breadbasket of the Confederacy. Because the Confederate Army was weakening, Lee was not able to maneuver his army from the capital of the Confederacy. Rather, he would need an additional general to push in the Shenandoah Valley. This would be a tall order, as the Confederate Army was short-staffed and weak. To make matters worse, the Union Army burned the land of the valley for 2 weeks, which was subsequently called the Burning. From this point, it was much harder for the Confederacy to live and feed off the land. Despite this, Lee was determined to fight one last time to reclaim some very sacred and pivotal land. To reclaim the land, Robert E. Lee sent one of his most decorated and venerated generals, Confederate Jubal A. Early. Early held control of over 21,000 troops, to which he engaged 16,000 of them in battle. On the contrary, Union General Phil Sheridan would eventually step into leadership at Cedar Creek, controlling 32,000 troops and engaging 8,000 of them. Although Early had 2 times the brigade of the Union, his desperate and surprise tactics would turn out to be one of the most riskiest maneuvers in the history of the American Civil War. To surprise the Union and set up a deadly attack, Early and his troops devised a sneak attack on the left flank of the Union Army. Using Signal Knob, the peak of the Massanutten Mountain, Early would lead his troops around the valley to set up an attack on the morning of October 19th, 1864. Using the peak, Confederate leaders were able to view and scout Union troops to effectively plan the attack. Signal Knob turned out to be a key piece of the Confederate game plan and set them up for success during the surprise attack. Early's game plan worked perfectly. The Union Army was totally unaware of the attack and suffered severe damage as a result. The Confederates fared very well not only because of their tactics, but because of the absence of Sheridan. Sheridan was occupied in a different area and was not able to halt the Confederate attack on his troops. As a result, the Union fled and retreated north to regroup as the Confederates grew in land and confidence. For the Union, it was time to get organized and pray that Sheridan would arrive in good time. The tide of events was completely altered once Sheridan arrived at the Shenandoah. Upon arriving, Sheridan organized and rallied his troops to resist the Confederate army. Later that day, the Union would fight back and gain the land that they had just lost. The Union wiped out plenty of Confederates who were weak, tired, and out of condition. Despite previous backlash about Sheridan's abilities, he did the absolute most to quiet the doubters. Sheridan did excellently and eventually gained the support of all the Union army. By the time the sun fell, Sheridan and his army devoured the Confederate army and proudly took the major victory of the Cedar Creek battle. Sheridan's success proved to be an absolutely vital win for the Union. Having gained much of the Confederate breadbasket, the Confederates felt lost without their most prioritized land in the region. Sheridan and his army gained a huge lift and definitely had the confidence to fully eradicate the Confederacy. In addition, Abraham Lincoln gained great confidence from the win, which helped him reclaim power and presidency. More importantly, this marked a major tide change in the American Civil War. The Battle of Cedar Creek is one example of a pivotal battle related to an American national park. The Cedar Creek National Park is extremely valuable as it is living proof of the conditions and environment during the battle. When viewing Cedar Creek, one can almost imagine the troops storming across the charcoal-burnt land and the plethora of obstacles that must have been present in the war. Because Cedar Creek's value, American citizens must fight for the preservation of the land so that all Americans can learn from the event. Patricia K. Davies is a true pioneer of the American conservationist movement. Having donated over $77 million, Davies bought out the land, ensuring that pursuing coal and oil companies would not buy and exploit the land. Patricia K. Davies unfortunately passed away soon after, but her legacy will forever live on. Thanks to Davies, American youth will be able to look at their great land in awe and recognize what sacrifices have been made on that land. Davies is an example of a true American legend. We must use her as an example to keep fighting for the preservation of American national battlefields. Thank you so much.